And now to start up this session, I would like to call on the Director for East Asia Sustainable Development Department of the World Bank to give his opening remarks, Mr. John Roome.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to Singapore and the Suntec Center. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. It's a wonderful opportunity to address you on this very important topic of better air quality in Asia. The quality of the air that we breathe has immense impacts on the people and the economics of Asia. As we've heard from a number of earlier speakers, indoor and outdoor air pollution have serious impacts on people's health and their living and working environments. Exposure to high levels of pollution, as we've heard, contributes to a range of negative health effects. But also, poor air quality can have a negative impact and can threaten the economic competitiveness of cities. A 2006 survey by the Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce has showed that worsening air pollution and the quality of air is one of the biggest barriers to investment decisions by corporations. And while it's very interesting for us to talk about PM10 ratios and all sorts of technical issues around air quality, what really matters for citizens is the health impacts that this has and the competitiveness of the cities. Unfortunately, however, the quality of air in Asia remains a major challenge. As we've seen, according to WHO estimates that there are about 2 million premature deaths worldwide because of air pollution, and about 2/3 of these occur in Asia. And as we saw also earlier, out of 230 cities, only 2 of them fully meet the WHO standards for air quality. And even in highly developed countries like Singapore, the quality of air has been deteriorating. In some cities, it's even worse. If we look at Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia, they have one of the highest rates of high particulate matter concentrations ever measured anywhere in the world. In the Gare areas surrounding UB, where most of the poor people live, the ratios are about 20 times the interim WHO, US, and EU standards. Worse still, rapid urbanization in East Asia and South Asia will, unless well managed, further exacerbate air pollution. Today, there are about 1.7 billion people, or about 42% of Asia's population, living in urban cities. By 2050, the urban population will double to 3.4 billion. Now, while this will bring huge benefits in terms of concentration, in terms of competitiveness, and this will be the shaping agenda for the 21st century, I believe, in Asia, unless well managed, this is going to mean that more people will be exposed to increasing air pollution from growing traffic, industry, and other sources. We found that under a business-as-usual scenario where work gets done as it's been done in the past, the local environmental damage costs in urban areas could be as high as $127 billion by 2030 in East Asia alone. Fortunately, however, the challenges of air pollution have been recognized, and we're seeing some encouraging progress. For example, most countries in Asia have moved ahead with stringent standards for industries, energy generation, and vehicles in recent years. Leaded gasoline has pretty much been phased out in Asia, and several countries are also taking steps to enhance energy efficiency. China has one of the most successful improved household cookstove programs in the world that both reduces emissions and improves efficiency. We see a rather different picture today in Chinese cities than 10 years ago. To some extent, the Olympic Games of 2008 provided a forum for the public and experts and politicians to debate the quality of air, and those people that visited Beijing after the Olympic Games noticed a dramatic improvement in air quality. Beijing was able to bring down the PM10 ratios from almost 150 micrograms per cubic meter to 123 micrograms per cubic meter over the 5 years leading up to the Olympics. Less well known, but even more impressive, if one looks at the northern cities of China, in 2003, the PM10 concentrations were about 150 micrograms per cubic meter, and this has been reduced to 96 micrograms per cubic meter in 2008. So we are seeing some encouraging progress. but much more is needed. Essentially, we're still playing catch-up to get safer quality of air that's needed for health. And so we need to do more in a more proactive manner. Transparency, knowledge, and public awareness about air pollution control is a crucial first step to address these challenges. And fortunately, we know a number of solutions and possible solutions that can work. Based on an assessment of the relative contribution of sources of pollution, it is now possible to design and cost-effective interventions and to then select and prioritize interventions based on benefit cost and cost-effectiveness ratios. I'd mentioned Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia as one of the most polluted cities in Asia. There, leaders have shown a commitment to understand the challenges and to find solutions to bring down the high pollution levels. We've been working very closely with city officials and local and central government officials in Mongolia to analyze pollution sources and to use this to form the basis for cost-effective solutions to bring down pollution levels. Sorry. Let me focus a little bit now on what interventions might look like in different sectors to try and manage air pollution more generally. In the transport sector, engine technology and fuel quality improvement can be addressed through regulations. Regional or national standards for vehicle emissions and fuel quality can be promulgated and, more difficult and probably more important, enforced. Transport emissions can also be curbed through better urban planning to reduce the number of trips taken and to encourage modal transfer towards public transport and to non-motorized forms of transport, which can further reduce regular vehicle emissions. In the transport sector in China, we're working very closely with partners on a variety of activities to support China's adaptation to a low-carbon path that will also deliver, at the same time, improved accessibility, mobility, and air quality benefits. This ranges from analytic work to pilots to focus in particular on the deployment of green vehicle technologies, such as more fuel-efficient vehicles for their entire vehicle fleet. The key focus of this is to focus on public and non-motorized transport. In Beijing, for example, we're working on improving the performance of BRT lines and facilitating greater bus-to-rail integration. In Wuhan and Kunming, we're working with the Chinese authorities on integration of land use and transport planning, and these are now a key part of our investment operations for lower carbon and cleaner urban growth. In Bangladesh, the rapidly growing construction sector is